Hey guys, welcome to the Moment of Clarity, Lessons in Leadership. I'm Dr. Williams, and today we're going to talk about creating a culture of feedback. This is going to really help you out. All right, guys, so let's talk about a culture of feedback. Listen, feedback is so important to your growth. You cannot grow as a leader if you don't have a means or a mechanism by which you're getting feedback. You cannot grow as a leader if people don't have the ability to reach you and to help you get to where you want to go through feedback. You have to foster that type of environment wherever you lead. You have to foster those type of relationships that allow you to get feedback from those that follow you. So we're going to talk today on the Moment of Clarity about fostering a culture of feedback. All right, we're going to talk about 3 ways that you can foster a culture of feedback. And listen, people get it. Businesses get it. You can't call Verizon Wireless. You can't call Spectrum. You can't call many big businesses without hearing at the end, okay, you're going to get a automated phone call. You're going to get an automated survey to complete at the end. Why? Because the company values your feedback. Right? When you go to a restaurant, you go to a nice restaurant and you get that receipt at the end and the waitress circles that website on the bottom and say, hey, go to this website and help me get a raise or help me get whatever I need by conducting this survey or doing the feedback survey that will help me get where I need to go. Listen, companies understand the value of having a feedback culture that is positive and that is constructive. So if you want to get to that next level of leadership, if you want to get to where you're trying to go as a leader, you have to foster a culture of constructive feedback. All right. And so here's how you do it. The first way that you have to do that is through leading with trust. Listen, I have to lead with trust. I have to let people know that they can trust me, right? They can trust the decisions that I make. They can trust that Dr. Williams is going to make the best decision in that particular time based off of, number one, the information that he has and the perspective that he has, right? And once you build that level of trust with those that follow you, what you do is you allow them to see and understand perspective, right? They understand that if he's seeing it this way, he's making a decision based off of the way he saw it, right? And that level of trust comes into your leadership capacity, and it helps you to take the criticism and the feedback from those that follow you, right? It's very important that you understand that if I don't trust you, we can't have a growth producing relationship, right? If I don't trust you, we're not going to grow together. Anything that is alive is growing in some area. Anything that is alive is growing. So if we are to grow as leaders, we have to understand perspective and trust, right? We have to trust each other, right? I have to trust that I've deposited something in those that follow me that allow them to make the best decision that they can possibly make at the appointed time so that they can learn and grow. And until they help me learn and grow through feedback. Here's the second thing that you have to have if you want to foster a culture of feedback wherever you lead. You need to have empathy. Listen, empathy is saying, hey, I understand where you are. I may not see it the same way you see it, but I understand where you are, and I'm going to help you get to where you're trying to go. It's not feeling sorry for them. It's not saying, oh, woe is me, right? What it's saying is I understand where you are. I've either been there or I've seen people that's been there, and I'm going to help you get to where you are trying to go. That's leading with empathy. And when people understand that their leader has empathy, people will run through walls for that leader. People won't be afraid of that leader's feedback, and people will not be afraid to give that leader feedback because they lead with empathy. One of the biggest things that I see happening, especially in school districts, is that people are afraid to give feedback because they are afraid of retaliation. Let me say that again. People are afraid to give feedback because they're afraid of retaliation. Listen, if I give you constructive feedback as my leader, I'm afraid that in some way that's going to come back to bite me. Why? Because I don't believe that you lead with any empathy. So you don't really understand what I'm going through, and you're not committed to helping me grow out of where I am now. You have to have empathy. Listen, Dr. Darius Daniels says this powerful quote, and I really like it. He says, leaders who lead with authority get compliance, but leaders who lead with influence get buy-in. Leaders who lead with authority get compliance, but leaders who lead with influence get buy-in. What does that mean? That means when I lead from a place of trust, a place of empathy, those that follow me are going to buy into what I'm trying to do. They're going to buy into where I'm trying to go. But when I have to flex my leadership muscle, so to speak, when I have to lead with authority, all I'm getting from those that follow me is buy-in. You have to create a culture of trust and a culture of empathy, right? You have to lead with trust and lead with empathy to get the buy-in that you need, but also to receive the constructive feedback for growth. Here's the last thing you need. If you want to create a culture of feedback wherever you lead, the last thing that you need is you need growth-producing relationships. Listen, this is why I like the concept of a team in leadership versus the concept of a family, right? Because a family, when you think about family, a family is blood related. They're not driven towards a goal per se. They're blood related. Whether or not I like you or not, we're still family, right? But a team has a goal in place, and that goal is for us to be agents of growth for one another. Listen, you help me grow as a leader, and I help you grow in whatever capacity you're following it, right? And so when you think about a team, you think about the mere fact that I have to create a growth-producing culture, whether or not I like you or your personality, whether or not I like you or your style, whether or not I like the strategies that you produce or not. I have to create a growth-producing relationship. And if you know that my feedback is to help you grow, and I know that your feedback is to help me grow, then it doesn't matter my personal beliefs or feelings about you either way. I'm only here to help you grow. And listen, you cannot get to growth-producing relationships without leading with trust and leading with empathy. This was the Moment of Clarity. I'm Dr. Williams. Leave me a comment below. Like, share, and subscribe. And remember, if no one's following you, you're just walking. Until next time.